First week of ESL Pro League Season 18 is underway, and things haven't gone entirely as expected. As the Celebrity League collectively struggles though, one man stands above the rest. Who and how? You're watching Fantasy Focus, brought to you by 22Bet. So it seems as though the early success of Movistar Riders and Ninjas in Pajamas in Group A has upended what was a pretty consistent run of success from the Celebrity Group. As it stands, most of us are on course to score less than 10 points this event. In fact, somebody in the top 3 is on the brink of scoring 0. Imagine being that idiot. It's me. I'm the idiot. Meanwhile, one of the group's newest additions is absolutely slaying it this week. A big round of applause for Nart out here, my guy. The Nart Tarts, so he calls them, are currently sitting strong in the 1%ers club. Now, so far this season, we've only got Prof in that club. So Nart is looking to add himself to that list if his team can hang on to the coveted 1% finish. Let's take a look at what Nart utilized in Group A to get himself to the top. Spinks and Apex. Big Spinks points right out the gate. K-Serato and Yuri, even despite Furious struggles in this group, well, K-Serato and Yuri have put up big ratings, especially K-Serato at the start of all of this. And then the addition of Mopaz. If you recall last week's episode, you'd remember that I had Mopaz in the eco pick, and it seems as though the Spaniard has delivered. A true testament to the power of padding points, as having Spinks alone eclipses almost every other draft out there. And it's for that reason that this episode's 22Bet Knowledge Bomb is ESL Pro League features the fantasy format with more rounds of padding points than any other event of the season. If you draft a top-rated player and they qualify for playoffs through the upper bracket, those 3 rounds of padding points can and will power you to a 1% finish. And so, as I mentioned, it seems as though Nart will be the next addition to the Big Bucks Club, which has yet to have a repeating winner, by the way. The highest finishing team every week has changed every single event. But the 1%ers Club, that's what all of us are shooting for. If you can just touch it, your name will be etched in the history books of this season's Fantasy League. And at the moment, it is just Prof, who we know fixes the game behind the scenes in order to succeed. That's what he does. It's an undeniable fact at this point, but he needs it to look more legitimate. And that's exactly what Nart out here will do if he can hang on to that top 1% finish. I think it really boils down to where K-Serato is going to finish for him, and he definitely could be the second name on that list. But enough about what's happened. Let's talk about what's about to happen. What's happening, baby? What's happening is ESL Pro League Group B. Now, of course, Group B of Pro League features 2 teams in the HLTV Top 10, Heroic and ENCE. Both on their own sides of the bracket and expected to meet in the upper final. The question right now is whether MOUZ can derail ENCE before they get to that upper final and a chance to knock down Heroic, or if Heroic struggles yet again versus lesser opposition. Will Heroic make it cleanly? They would have to play Big or Monty if they dispatch of Rooster, and that's a question mark for some. ENCE, meanwhile, we're talking grand finalist repeat offenders at this point. And MOUZ should be the biggest opposition for them on the run up to that upper final. Should be. Will Frozen be the highest rated player of this Pro League group like he was last season of Pro League? Possibly. Possibly. And that's why when we talk about big ballers and who you should draft for this group of fantasy, I have to say the number 1 big baller first on the list is Frozen. Now, this comes with a massive price tag, and that's why Frozen is one of the very few players who you can actually apply for the role of stat hunter. So I would say if you're looking for the big ballers, look no further than Frozen, who arguably comes with a nice pairing of Shuhei. Red meat and wine. That's what I'm saying. Frozen as a stat hunter, or Stown as a stat hunter. These are the two riflers that I think you should pick up for your big baller. Stown comes in at $10,000 less, but will Heroic struggle? I feels like all of the Mao's rating gets gobbled up by Frozen, and that's why he's worth as much as he is. If you don't like either of those riflers or stat hunters, then I highly suggest Sun Pius, the only op that's going to make the list of big baller and another potential candidate to be the highest rated player of the group. However, when it comes to role, obviously main op, or if you fancy a second op in your setup, go ahead and look at Camper. Sun Pius activates both of these roles pretty actively. Now beyond the big baller, our safe bets. I'm gonna say double Ents with Snappy. That to me feels like the safest bet. Normally we'd be talking about Heroic. Heroic this, Heroic that, especially at formats like ESL Pro Leagues. But with Heroic's recent struggles and their current high price tags, where Jabby is the least expensive at $205,000, it feels like Ents are a safer bet, even though they could run into trouble versus Mao's, simply because Snappy's $191,000 price tag allows for you to lean into potentially Nerds or maybe even Sun Pius. You can go for a higher performer because of Snappy's inclusion, and that little bit of economic padding is what allows you to call this the safer bet. If it's not the double Ents, then to me it's double Heroic. I think Mao's could end up proving everybody wrong and topping this entire group because of Heroic struggles. And those Heroic struggles is why I can't label them safe bet. Last but not least, as always, the Eco Pick. Now, this week, I think there's 3 names on the Eco Pick list, and I nailed it last week with Mopaz. Yeah, that's right, cheer for me. Did I draft him? No, but I told you you could have and should have, and I wasn't wrong. And so this week, get ready for it. 1. Snappy. On Eco-Friendly. Loves the SMGs, that guy, and Ents are predicted to go on and win a bunch of games, so Snappy shouldn't drag you down while freeing up about $9,000. Shuhei. On the leader role. Unfortunately, Shuhei struggles from role activation, but it feels like even if Mao's end up losing to Ents, they should go down, mop up a few easy wins, and that's Shuhei racking up points left, right, and center. Not to mention, Shuhei, I would say, can pull off your above 1.0 ratings and doesn't dip beneath it all too often. Again, the wins should offset any negative points that Shuhei may or may not get you. But la pièce de résistance, the number 3 pick, and what I'm gonna say is the secret of this week, Tabson. Tabson comes through at $188,000, and when you look at everybody sub 190, it feels like all of them don't quite have anything comparable to the experience of Tabson. We're talking Tabson on LAN with Big coming through with some semi-solid recent online results. So take a look at Tabson, maybe throw him on entry frag. Unfortunately, Tabson doesn't activate too many roles all too often, but I don't think he's going to sink your ship. And at 188, he's freeing up a bunch of money so that you can get into your Heroic choices, so that you can go for the big ballers on Ents or on Mao's. Tabson frees up cash and shouldn't bring you down. Hell, it feels like maybe Big could even qualify for playoffs. But that's it for this week. That's it for ESL Pro League Group B. Thank you guys for always watching Fantasy Focus, powered by 22Bet.